All right, it's Jared Moore again. Welcome back to another Live Wire. Today's program is going to be on the festival. The festival's coming back again this year. It's been 2 years on hiatus, and we've had a lot of questions about what's going to be at the festival, etc., etc. So we're having Ryan Logan in. He is from Muskogee Nation Marketing and Tourism Department. He's going to give us an update and also tell us where you can go in the future to see the updates, because I'm sure you guys probably don't have the full schedule filled out yet.
Yes, that's correct.
Thanks for joining us today, by the way. And could you give the audience an idea of what is festival if they've never even heard of it?
Okay, so the festival is basically our annual celebration. I always say it's the time to share in the good times, celebrate another prosperous year of us being not only Muskogee people, but also welcoming our communities, our native communities, our non-native communities. Just basically a time to say, let's come together, celebrate another prosperous year, and have a good time.
Awesome. And this year's festival is going to be from June 23rd through the 26th. If you're watching the program right now, remember, we take questions from the chat. So if you have any questions about what's going to happen at festival, pop them in the chat. Is there going to be any lineup changes? I know for us, the Stomp, for our YouTube channel, the Stomp Dance videos we do every year of the festival, Stomp Dance is one of our biggest draws. So is that going to happen again this year, or there had to be any changes?
We are still trying to get everything confirmed. We are still a couple of months out. We are trying to have the biggest festival we've ever had before. Basically, our viewpoint is we want folks to come in and say, hey, they missed us as much as we missed them, because it's been a long time. I said, but when we get to June 23rd, it's going to be 3 years since we had our last festival. And so that's a huge amount of time to not come together, to not get that fellowship, to not get that time to spend. So there are going to be some changes just because the world has changed. I don't think most folks will notice substantial changes. They'll notice some events have gotten larger. We've tried to add a few events. But unfortunately, we have lost a few folks. And so I think the festival is going to be a mixed bag. It's going to be a time to come together. It's going to be a time to share in stories and fellowship and enjoy each other. But I think it's also going to highlight some people that we have lost due to COVID, due to just everyday life. And so I know myself personally, when I think about festival, I have my one experience that I kind of recycle over and over. In my own personal life, there's people that are missing. So it will be a different type of festival, and we want to honor those folks that we have lost and remember them. And we're trying to make sure that we feel united in that when we look around, we won't be one person or two people missing somebody. It's a nation missing people. And so we're trying to find ways to not only honor those folks, but also to unite us in that fact, because we're stronger as a tribe and as a community if we come together.
Absolutely. And normally the Stomp Dance is held that Thursday evening of the Thursday of festival. So it sounds like we're still trying to organize that part of it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So our coordinator that we've had in the past was David Proctor that worked here at the Nation, previous Miko. And so we are looking to find someone else to help us coordinate that. Last year we had reached out to different Mikos and they were offering to help us, but it just comes at who's available, who's not going through, ceremony, and who's at green corn and whatnot. So the time of year kind of makes it tough. But we still have some time. We still have feelers out. We're still looking to fill that. So again, a few things are going to kind of change, but it's mostly just this person running this event or that person. So, which is pretty common in festival, but Stomp Dance specifically, I've been here 12 years and I've had David Proctor as my coordinator. So it'll hit very close to home. Here.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask about it, because I know we had some losses due to COVID and that's going to affect it. But what about on the entertainment spectrum? Do we have the entertainment lined out? Because I've got some suggestions popping up in chat right now, and I was just curious, do we have that locked down? Where are we at with the entertainment?
We're still in negotiations. I was actually printing off contracts today, trying to get those reviewed. Our goal for the festival is to always have it released anywhere between like May 15th, just because it's about a month out for festival. So normally the festival entertainment, the Stomp Dance, and the carnival rides really have a huge following. We get the most shares off social media. And we always shoot for about a month out for festival in the past few years for entertainment specifically.
Right.
Just because those shares go everywhere, everyone's excited, everyone's getting ready, and when they start falling off, it comes about 2 weeks before festival, and that's when our advertising starts. So I know a lot of folks are always wondering, are things going to change? This is also the first time we've had festival during the Hill administration. And so folks usually notice that first year of a new administration is pretty consistent. But that second year is when we see the changes. It's just because in the past, the chief's offices have not had a chance to really jump in on that first festival. They come into office in January, festival starts in June. They're trying to set up house. They're trying to get everything going, trying to get their administration set up. So usually that very first festival, we don't see a lot of changes, but it's that second one. But we're going to be in the third year of the Hill administration, so we're going to have that change as well. It'll be a little different. But like I said, 2019 was so long ago that I think we're all just going to be very welcoming of being together as one people.
And people don't realize all the things that happen behind the scenes for the festival, specifically like contract negotiations, and those things take months sometimes to even go through the review process. Well, we do have some suggestions here. I'm just going to run through these really quick.
Okay.
So here, these are performer suggestions, and this just to put them on your radar. Indigenous, Redbone, The Hallucination, Tribe Called Red, Stinjati, Mike Bone, Throne, and I don't know if you've checked out our program. I can send you some links. We actually interviewed one half of the duo Throne on a live wire just a few weeks ago. And when I was talking to her, that's one of the things I was asking her is, are you guys going to play at festival? So I've got some connections to some artists we've recently interviewed. Let me go on down this list. Silver Jackson, Julian B., Joy Harjo, Dead Pioneers, Bear Fox. Also a suggestion to have a Muskogee talent stage. That's something I'd like to talk about that for just a second if you're game, because this is something I've heard every year for a festival is there will be citizens who maybe they have a cover band or they have a band or something, maybe they're not like touring band or anything like that, but they're always wanting to get on the festival stage because I know during the day there are always open slots, Is that something that's like maybe possible this year, or is it like if they get a hold of you now, could they maybe get on a stage somewhere?
Well, I can tell you, I want to say it was, my goodness, 2013 or 2012. I know it was the Tiger administration. We actually did a Creek's Got Talent event and try to get some folks in there. So we've toyed with that idea before. In years past, we've had 2 stages. And one of the reasons that we had 2 stages, especially when we had that like Stajati night, we got to have those local bands and getting different performers to play at the festival. It's because although the main stage looks very empty during the day, they are doing sound checks starting like at 6 or 7 in the morning. I have had band show up at 3 a.m. and I'm meeting them there with, donuts and orange juice, trying to stay awake myself.
Right.
And so that's the hard side of festival entertainment is these contracts can be anywhere from 30 pages on the light side to 100 pages on the full side. And it goes into every specifics, including the stage. And so that's the thing with getting national talent. Although sometimes it looks like that there's dead spaces there, once they have it set, it's set. And so we can't change it, or they have to come back and reset it.
Right.
So even with previous chiefs and the princesses and whatnot, Miss Muskogee Nation and Junior Miss, doing announcements on the main stage, we advance that months in advance. We say we're going to be grabbing a microphone, they're going to talk for 30 minutes. It's basically like choreography, but instead of people singing or dancing, it's moving around instruments, changing the settings from this performer. And so in good years, folks will just see an empty stage. In bad years, to where they're not dialing in fast enough, or maybe there was too much noise, you'll hear them doing sound check over and over. So that's one of the issues we have. And then also, with national artists, a lot of times they have specific contractual rights that can control. So I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but if you think of it backwards, in the music industry, if you get to open up for somebody, you kind of attach yourself to that brand.
Right.
And since that's the case, they can control that. So there has been festival years to where it's been chopping up all the way up to maybe 2 weeks beforehand, and they said, hey, we can't get someone approved. So it just depends on what the contract is. And then unfortunately, we never know what it is until we're halfway through negotiations, because it's not revealed. It's not something they like to reveal.
As far as this year's negotiations, are we in negotiations with some bands? Okay, so there's stuff that's actually out there. We just haven't solidified anything to make an announcement, right?
Yeah, it also, I'll be honest with you. So until about 29 days until the festival, I am sweating bullets because almost all entertainment contracts are open-ended. So without revealing artist names from previous years, I've booked someone super happily on a Friday, and I go into the weekend, I'm like, yeah, another thing done for the festival. And then I get a notification on Monday that, oh, we pulled out. And that happens. If someone gets offered a TV show or they're going to do a new album, our entertainment contracts are open-ended all the way up to 30 days. I see. That's why I'm always like 30 days out from festival, I'm like, we are here. And that's another reason you see those announcements. Right. And so we are always just very, very conservative. Of course, we could announce early, but our thing is what can you gain and what could you lose? And I don't want to announce that this is who the entertainment is. Mm-hmm. Folks get all happy, they book their plane tickets, and then go, oh, they left. Now it's somebody else. And so anyway, so hopefully that sheds a little bit of light on the entertainment side. Absolutely.
To change gears, another festival standard is the Living Legends ceremony. Now I know normally, I think we're doing that this year too. You guys take submissions for Living Legends, and then it's reviewed, and the legends are picked. Is that the process this year too?
Yes. So Living Legends is coordinated through our chief's office. It's been like that since I've been here in 2010. It's a part of festival because we do want to honor our citizens and award them that. The Tiger administration, it was called Hall of Fame, but it is Living Legends Hall of Fame and intermixes. But yes, that is going forward. The administration is looking for applicants to apply, so it is open. That flyer came out, I believe it was last week. Okay. Because as we can get these flyers updated, we are putting them on social media. We are mass emailing them. I'm hoping to put out a flyer today, actually, for festival as well.
Awesome. So if somebody's watching this and they can't get their hands on a flyer, or where can they make a submission? Do they need to call Chief's office, or is it like where they can email you, or also for the audience? I put a link to the festival's webpage in the description of this video if you want to go there, because that's also going to get updated whenever they have a musical guest booked firmly. They can post it there, so that's another resource to go to. But if somebody's watching this right now and they're like, I want to submit my grandma or whoever, how could they do it?
They could contact Chief's office or our office directly, either which way, whatever's the most convenient for them. But we'd love to have their phone calls or their emails. They can even write into us. We check our mail, and it's just, like I said, whatever is the most convenient for them.
Awesome. Cool. Let's see. What else happens on festival? Oh, well, the softball tournament. So where are we at with the softball tournament?
Well, it's going to look pretty similar to previous years. Same coordinator. We'll have the slow pitch softball the weekend before, the third weekend in June, because every weekend in the month of June we have festival events, starting with the scholarship pageant with Miss and Junior Miss Muskogee Nation. But with softball, we'll have the slow pitch weekend, third weekend in June. That's also the same time as the Pecan Festival this year, so that'll be a little bit different. Mm-hmm. And then on that fourth weekend, the festival main weekend, we'll have fast pitch. And so, but we're looking to have a pretty normalized tournament. We're hoping to get the same folks in there. We're hoping they missed us as much as we missed them.
Right, absolutely. Well, I think everybody's chomping at the bit, really, because of the 2 years off. Now, are we going to have any other tournaments? Is there going to be a basketball tournament? Or I know volleyball is probably going to come back, and then there's horseshoes. What are all the tournaments if you want to list them?
I'd have to pull a list up, but basically, we've not canceled anything. So
Okay.
every festival event people love and have known that we've consistently had. If you saw it in 2019, if you enjoyed it in 2019, it's still on.
Okay.
So nothing has been canceled. Like I said, we've been changing out coordinators in a few spots. We're still trying to fill a few areas, but so far everything is on track. Everything's looking great. We have had to redo a few things, but nothing that citizens or festival goers will notice. But one thing, for instance, is like festival t-shirts. It's something we try to get in around April or May, like the retail side. The world is a different animal now. And so for the nation to save money and for our consumers and our citizens to save money, we've already placed our order for festival shirts. We have 3,000 shirts on its way. We've already picked our colors. We're making sure we get exactly what we want. In previous years, the world was faster. We would place a festival volunteer order in the end of May and get it by June, the second weekend of June. The world doesn't move that fastly. So we looked at it. We talked with our vendors. We looked to see what the bottom line was. And we said, hey, if we want to safeguard our people and have the event we know we want, let's get this done early. Let's get this done now. And we have ordered all of those because that's another thing. T-shirts are very hard to find. T-shirt prices are going up, and we do not want to have to increase our prices. So as of now, even T-shirt prices should be the same normalized T-shirts that people are expecting from us.
Great. We've had a couple of things pop up in the chat here. First off is a suggestion to do a fishing tournament. Is there a fishing tournament?
Well, there used to be a bass tournament, and I've actually been trying to secure a coordinator for that for the past couple of weeks. I've reached out to some areas. In our past, we've had one at Lake Eufaula. I want to say it lasted 2 to 3 years. But again, we're trying to go for, we missed you guys like you missed us. Let's go bigger. So I'm still trying to find someone to coordinate that. I would love to have that. With regards to new, we did announce we are having a cornhole tournament. So we've never had that before. So that is something new. It is confirmed, and the entry forms are available. But we're still working on the bass tournament. So if I can get it done, I want it done. I'm hoping to find the coordinator that has the love for it and that can give it the attention that it needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had another question pop up too about the bow shooters. So the cornstalk shoot's going to happen?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
And we'll have the same coordinators for that. We usually work with Cultural Center and Archives. John Brown has been our coordinator for years, and so he's inside the mix again for this year.
Awesome. Great. Well, let's see. So it sounds like pretty much everything's going to follow the same pattern that's established with the festivals from previous years. There's not going to be any radical changes other than we're still trying to get the Stomp Dance situation worked out. Is that pretty good synopsis there?
Yes, and I can say, just to make people kind of wonder, in previous years, the 2018 festival, the 2017 festival, we have staff changes that happen every year. So it's not uncommon for us to not have a coordinator. And so the way we do it is that person that's coordinating it, they're choosing to do that. So it's a volunteer basis. Now, they are usually employees of the nation, and they do get their time back to them. But the nation, Muskogee Nation specifically, we're very blessed. Everybody that's working at the festival that is there, that has those volunteer shirts on, they're volunteering. They're choosing to spend their time there. There's no mandatory fun days, that they say mandatory. And that's one thing that why people usually have a smile on their face and they're looking forward to it, is they want to be there too. So we're blessed in that aspect. But just to make sure everybody feels comfortable, it's very common for us to have a coordinator change out or a staffing change. And so we look for someone that either has that experience or those connections or the passion for that event. And if we can't find that person, then we'll start reaching out to the nation as a whole, or asking that person, do you have any contacts who volunteered with you in the past? So that way citizens don't see a radical change. But we say, is our department, Marketing and Tourism, we're here to be your best friend and help you. That can be helping solidify your event, or it could be just turning those things in to make sure you get your awards or your products. So everybody operates differently. So we just kind of give that freedom and availability to whatever the coordinator needs. Because without the coordinators and our festival volunteers, we would not have a festival. We are very, very blessed to have the wonderful coordinators and the wonderful volunteers, because we go from anywhere from 700 to 900 volunteers each year. So without them, we could not have this.
Yeah, absolutely. Another topic I wanted to touch on with the festival is the art market. So are there still, in the past, I know it was kind of like a thing where if you were going to sell, you had to get a slot underneath the tent, and it was a certain amount of cost. Are there still slots available there, or what's the status of that?
So you threw me for a loop there. So arts and crafts, is that what you mean?
Yeah, you know that they have the food vendors and stuff too. Those are purchase slots too. So are those all booked up, or are we still?
I'm not sure on the food vendors or arts and crafts. And so when we first announced we were having the festival for this year, Brian on the Hill's the coordinator for the food vendors and arts and crafts vendors. And we had filled for last year. So even though that was September of 21, that was not that long ago.
Right.
So we typically have the same vendors that kind of come to us each year. And so everyone kind of notices that their favorite food vendor, they're usually a church or our ground or whatnot. But so he got permission to reach out to them, since they had already filled out those applications, not once, but twice, because the same folks applied for 2020 and applied for 2021. So those acceptance letters, I want to say, went out last week. I know the date we had told folks was like the 25th, and then we were going to see what holes we had, and if there were still availability, then we would put them back out for open. But usually that just encompasses arts and crafts, and a typical, when I say typical, year, they fill about April, May. Food vendors fill up usually within the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, and just so that if you're in the audience and you're watching this, you want to try to get into that market, you know, Brian on the Hill is who they would need to contact to find out if there's a slot open?
Yes, but like I said, we'll post it on creekfestival.com or Facebook. If there are available spots, it'll go back to the unclickable link. If there's not, it'll say it's full. Right now it says that all vendors, I believe it's March 25th, will have a letter drafted from us. And so, and I don't know if that was March 25th sending it out or received by, but if it was sending it out, we're just now that 1 week away. But we'll update our website.
Awesome. So go check the website basically for all the information running up to the festival. And as soon as we find out the entertainment, everybody will be happy or mad. Hey, I'll be happy too. I'll say it's done and we're finished and we're ready just to say, boom, here we are. Awesome. Is there anything about this year's festival that we haven't touched on that you'd like to touch on, or have we covered all the bases?
I mean, I'm looking forward to us having our rodeo again. I was thankful that we got to have the rodeo last year, so that was one unique aspect. But I'm not sure if a lot of folks realize, but we're the largest Native American rodeo in the country. We've had this title for the past, I'd say, 5 or 6 years. Before that, it was the Crow Nation. And so when folks talk about going to see a Native rodeo, it makes a huge difference when you realize we are the largest one. Now, it makes sense geographically because we're in Oklahoma, but in good years, which right now we're still in a pandemic-ish type world, our region association will have a rodeo on Sunday, but that's another reason we draw on so many people. I mean, if you're a cowboy and you want to enter in and get those points, would you go to 2 rodeos for the cost of 1? Who wouldn't? So we normally try to partner with our region, and they've been fantastic through this. They've helped us secure our quotes and our buckles and everything else, and they're still helping us even though they can't have their rodeo, because these are all sanctioned INFR rodeos.
There's been a couple of questions pop up here in the chat, and I'm going to try to squeeze them in because we're getting close to wrap time. Will there be any shuttles or transportation for the festival?
Yes, we always work with transportation. We try to identify the different stops, but they typically will go through the main complex. They'll also go through housing, and then we designate one specific stop at the Omniplex as a bus stop. And so without them, the festival again would be a grinding halt. There's so many areas that rely on those pieces, and transit is a very vital piece of that.
Are we going to see any shuttles maybe coming from the casino from Tulsa or community centers coming into the festival? Or I don't think that's been done in the past, but I have a question here about the transportation from community centers.
I'm not sure. We could always follow up with them. I know the one thing that always hits the nation really hard, especially on festival weekend, is that it is so large. It seems to use almost all the services and almost all the different entities of the tribe. So, for instance, like the parade, those take trucks and trailers and equipment and vehicles, and we're all pulling from the same pile. So sometimes we'll have a logistical issue, like we don't have a vehicle available, and sometimes it's just we don't have a person. Because I had a citizen reach out to me a few years ago, and they said, hey, we wanted our church here, and they kept trying. He said, you got a Cherokee church. We couldn't find one because it's our festival. We want to enjoy it just like everybody else. Right. So we try our best to keep it all in-house if possible, because it is the Muskogee Nation Festival. But if we need to, we do branch out. So, but yeah, that would be wonderful if the communities could to get something like that done or worked with them. But again, it's just finding that person to help spearhead during the festival when there are no buses available, if it's something that the communities could do. But yeah, I would love that.
I want to touch on one more thing and then we'll wrap. There's also T.Y. Pearl in the chat is saying there's an art market coming to River Spirit on April 23rd through the 24th. Yes. And he says it's the inaugural Muskogee Art Market, and he wants me to do a live wire on it. But I'm assuming, are you the organizer for that too, or is there somebody else?
No, that is Siobhan Agee.
Siobhan, okay.
It is the nation's very first art market. I'm very sad to say I'm going to miss it. I have been looking forward to helping with this event and experiencing this event for 2 years, but unfortunately it just coincides with another event on the tourism side of things. But yes, so that's when you said art market earlier. I was like, oh, our first art market's coming up. So yes,
we'll leave it to the chat. The chat plugged it before I could plug it. So, but I'll reach out to Siobhan about that too and see if she'd like to do one on it for you guys out there calling for that. So we'll try to get that organized and set up. I want to thank you, Ryan, for coming in today. I think we've covered all the major bases. Sounds like in a nutshell, if you have any questions about the festival, you need to go to creekfestival.com. The link is in the description of this video. Just keep going back, and they're going to have updates there and as soon as they're available. So, and I'm personally am excited because I know when the first 2020's festival got called off, I was like, what am I going to do? I've been here so long, and it's like such a thing. It's like a thing every year, and I was like, this is going to be the first year in 10, 15 years since I haven't gone to a festival and done any coverage. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my June. Because that's like your whole month, basically, is like getting ready and doing it and everything else. So thanks for coming on today. And thanks for tuning in, everybody who's watching the program. I've got some stuff in the works in the coming weeks for Live Wire. I don't have anything booked yet, but I'm trying to get there's a documentarian that's doing a documentary about some art protest movements that happened in the 70s that I'm trying to get that organized. I'm going to contact Siobhan Agee about the art market and see if she wants to do a live wire. And this weekend I'm going out to there's a festival that the nation is having in Oxford, Alabama. I'm going to go out there and grab a story on that. So if you're in Alabama, close to Oxford, go to the, I can't remember the name of the festival, but there's a post on it on the Muskogee Nation's Facebook page. Check it out, and you might see me down there doing a story. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and Ryan and Chihichotlees. We'll see you later.
Thank you.